Nobody wanted the savage giant dog. He was too big, too wild, and too feared to be loved. Everyone expected chaos if someone took him home. This giant dog was marked as savage, dangerous, and unwanted. People walked away, certain he could never be tamed. But just when his fate seemed sealed, a struggling veteran stepped forward. What he did next shocked everyone and changed everything. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Farmers, ranchers, and curious onlookers gathered around the pens, bidding on animals that promised profit or companionship. Yet at the far end, a cage sat apart, its heavy bars rattling with the growl of something that didn't belong. Inside stood a giant German shepherd, muscles taut, eyes blazing like embers. His fur was scarred, his teeth bared in constant defiance. Men who had handled cattle and wild horses wouldn't even step near. Whispers floated through the crowd. That one's a killer, untamable, worthless. Every time he lunged at the bars, the crowd recoiled in unison, fear flashing in their eyes. The auctioneer cleared his throat, raising his gavel with forced cheer. Lot 27. Strong, powerful, could be a fine guard dog. His voice cracked, betraying doubt. Silence answered him. No hands lifted. No bids came. For all the noise of the yard, this pen became a void, a place where no one dared claim responsibility. The beast's fate seemed sealed, unwanted, and abandoned. From the back of the crowd, a man slowly stepped forward. His boots were worn, his shoulders squared yet heavy, as though carrying more than just his own weight. A faded cap shaded his eyes, but the lines on his face told a story of battles fought far from home. He was a veteran, living in silence with scars no one else could see. He didn't come to the auction looking for glory, nor did he expect to leave with anything. Money was tight, and every day felt like a fight just to keep going. But when his gaze met the caged dogs, something inside him shifted. While others saw a monster, he saw something familiar: anger, fear, and pain wrapped in a shell of survival. The crowd's whispers grew louder. "Don't do it," someone muttered. But the veteran's steps didn't falter. He approached the auctioneer, his voice steady, almost defiant. "I'll take him." Gasps rippled through the air. For the first time, the savage dog wasn't alone. The veteran loaded the giant dog into the back of his old pickup. Every clink of the chain echoed louder than the engine, reminding him of the weight of his choice. The drive home was quiet, tense. The dog's piercing eyes never left the rear window, as if measuring the man who dared claim him. At home, the veteran opened the cage slowly. The dog didn't rush out. He stepped forward with heavy paws, his muscles tight, his teeth flashing at the slightest sound. The veteran didn't back away. He simply stood there, calm, unmoving, refusing to show fear. Years of discipline taught him that broken souls needed patience, not force. He set a bowl of food on the floor and stepped back. The dog growled, circling it warily before finally lowering his head to eat. For the first time, the veteran noticed a flicker of something in those fierce eyes. Not trust, not yet, but the faintest glimmer of surrender. The first nights were restless. Every creak of the house sent the giant dog into growls, his body tense like a coiled spring. The veteran barely slept, keeping one eye open, watching the animal pace in the dark. It wasn't hatred he saw. It was fear, raw and unyielding, carved deep into the dog's soul. Instead of forcing control, the veteran began a quiet ritual. Each morning, he sat on the porch with his coffee, leaving the door open. Sometimes the dog lingered inside. Sometimes he prowled the yard, but always he watched. The veteran never rushed him. He let silence do the talking. Days stretched into weeks. The growls softened, replaced by cautious stares. When the veteran dropped his glove one afternoon, the dog picked it up, not with gentleness, but without destruction. That simple act told him everything. The beast wasn't gone, but beneath the scars lived a dog still searching for someone to believe in. It happened one stormy night. Thunder cracked the sky open, shaking the fragile walls of the veteran's home. The giant dog, already restless, bolted upright at the sound. His chest heaved, eyes darting as though the lightning itself was a whip from his past. The veteran recognized the look. It was the same panic that haunted him in war. When a tree branch slammed against the window, the dog lunged, teeth bared, snarling at shadows. The veteran didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped closer, placing himself between the chaos and the terrified animal. His voice was steady, low, like a soldier speaking to a brother on the edge. "It's all right. You're safe now. Nobody's coming for you." For a moment, the dog froze, torn between instinct and trust. Rain pounded the roof, thunder roared again, but this time he didn't attack. He pressed his massive body against the veteran's leg, trembling but seeking comfort. That night, in the heart of the storm, the walls finally cracked. Morning sunlight streamed through the cracked blinds, soft and golden after the storm's fury. The veteran stirred awake to a weight on his chest. For a split second, instincts sharpened, until he realized it wasn't danger. It was the giant dog, curled tightly against him, breathing slow, finally at peace. The transformation was subtle, but undeniable. Days passed, and the snarls softened into curious glances. Where there had once been constant growls, there were now hesitant tail wags. The veteran noticed how the dog's eyes, once blazing with defiance, now carried something different, a flicker of trust, fragile but real. One afternoon, as children passed by the fence, the veteran braced himself for the usual outburst. Instead, the dog merely stood tall, ears pricked, then sat quietly by his side. No teeth, no fury, just presence. The veteran's throat tightened. For the first time in years, he wasn't just living with shadows. He was watching them fade. The veteran stood in his yard, hands shoved deep in his pockets, watching the dog pace the grass. For weeks he had fed him, sheltered him, spoken in tones gentler than his own father ever had. Now, the beast that once terrified an entire town walked slowly toward him, head bowed, eyes steady. The dog stopped just a breath away. There was no chain, no barrier, no force holding him back, only choice. Then, with a deep sigh, he lowered his head into the veteran's trembling hand. The touch was electric. Years of pain, rejection, and scars seemed to dissolve into that single moment of surrender. The veteran whispered the dog's new name, the one he had chosen carefully, not out of pity but out of respect. The name carried weight, a promise of belonging. The dog's ears twitched, and for the first time, his tail gave a hesitant wag. Two broken souls had finally found each other, and both knew it. The days that followed no longer felt like battles. The veteran woke each morning to the heavy thump of paws on his porch, a reminder that life had given him one more chance. Neighbors who once crossed the street in fear now stopped to watch, astonished at how calmly the giant dog walked beside him. At the local park, children ran up without hesitation, their laughter filling the air as the once feared beast allowed tiny hands to tug at his ears. The veteran stood tall, his chest lighter than it had been in years, his nightmares softened by the steady presence at his side. The savage dog was no longer savage. He was a guardian, a friend, a symbol of redemption. Together, they became a story whispered through the town. The broken soldier who named the unwanted dog, and the unwanted dog who, in return, gave the soldier back his life. It wasn't just survival anymore. It was healing, a second chance. Neither man nor beast had expected, but both desperately needed.